Moats, what do you think is the biggest question mark heading into this phase for the Steelers on either side of the ball?
Man, I mean, it's a good amount, in a good way, though. If we're talking offensively, I think up front with the offensive line, the big question mark is just seeing how those guys gel together. Wolf can attest to this. Even though they are individuals, they are a unit and they have to play well together. They have to trust each other. And you're not going to get that trust without knowing your brother, knowing the guy that you're next to, how they like to play, how they like to attack different things. And this is the time where they're going to get a chance to understand each other and figure that out. So I think offensive line is definitely somewhere where you're looking into to see, how they develop. Another storyline that I would look into is on the defensive side of the ball. Pursuiter brought up DeMarvin Leal. I'm extremely excited about him, but I'm also cautiously optimistic about his role early in the season, and that's solely predicated on what Stephon Tuitt is going to look like. So for me, I think he's another guy in terms of DeMarvin that I'm interested to see how he develops and what that looks like for the early portion of the season.
Trev, Wolf, anything else you guys think is a question mark heading into this phase?
Well, just to kind of tag along with Arthur's saying, sorry if I cut you off, Michael, didn't mean to. The one thing on offense, what's the offense going to look like? This is a different era. We've just hung up with 18 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacking, and I know the quarterback's going to be a big story, but now we're talking about a completely, possibly revamped offense where maybe we got more play action, maybe we've got misdirection, maybe we've got an ability to move the launch points around for the quarterback, and that's going to be a whole totally different makeup for the Steelers. Not to mention the fact you got a twosome of tight ends that I think can really present some specific problems defensively. So can you start to build on that and this offense look different? And defensively speaking, you got to start to figure out what the riddle of run defense is going to look like. The biggest problem last year in my mind, most humbly, I just throw this out here, is a run defense. What in the world can you do to bolster that thing? Because the rebuilding project starts right now, and you've got to get those elements in place and get them going.
Wolf, you took the words right out of my mouth like it was the last chicken wing on the plate at the Anchor Bar. I mean, obviously quarterback is a huge question, right? Obviously, everybody is hopeful of seeing Stephon Tuitt at some point, whether it's in OTAs or mandatory veteran minicamp, which will conclude that. But what is this offense going to look like? We've been so fixated on the people that are going to be doing it. What's the offensive line configuration and, how will Pickens contribute? Who's going to play quarterback? I think it's going to look a lot different. I think Matt Canada, he might have been the coordinator last year, but I don't think we saw, Matt Canada's stuff. And I think we're going to see it this year. And Wolf, all that stuff you mentioned, I think it's going to be exciting to watch all that unfold, and particularly exciting in September to see whether it works or not.